Hello and welcome to Eggscellent Books. My name's Nigel and I'm not sat in front of a wall of books. I'm not sat in a library. I am in Derbyshire, England. I've got a spare night, so I'm going camping. But seeing as this is the first introductory video on Eggscellent Books, I thought we'd do it out here. I have got another channel which I do more hiking, walking, climbing, and I talk about books on that. But the majority of that channel is walking in the outdoors. So I thought I'd do another channel just on books, because I love books. I love reading. And I see on YouTube, BookTube, YouTube, all these fabulous book reviewers. And you know, they are very good, but they're all in front of a wall of books in a library, their personal library if you like, or at a desk with books behind them. And what's going to be different about my channel is I'm going to give you monthly ones, what I've read that month. We're in July, mid-July, and what books I've bought that month. But I'm going to do it out here or wherever I am. You know, just to be different. Because what I tend to find is I drift off. While I'm sat at home watching these booktubers on my big telly, I drift off what they're talking about, what books they're on about. I'm trying to look at the bookshelves behind them, what books they've got. Which, yeah, I suppose everyone does that. I hope everyone does that. But you're not going to have a chance on this one. So we're walking top of Derwent Dam in Derbyshire, Peak District National Park, to an absolutely stunning, well, I think it is, little spot. Hopefully, fingers crossed, there's going to be nobody there but me. So, I've been reading really from when I left home at 16. And I've always read fantasy, fiction, poetry. Poetry came later. It's always been science fiction or sword and sorcery. I got hooked One of the first books that I read that I remember is The Hobbit. You all know what that is. And that really captured my attention, because then I'd left home. There's a kestrel up there. I'd left home and I was living on the dole, climbing, full-time climber in Margaret Thatcher's England, and I loved it. I'd get little part-time jobs, but I was a climber. So books like The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, books like that, epic fantasy books, I could go to these really remote places and get a glimpse of them. I was reading Lord of the Rings when Frodo went into Shelob's caves, and in the last book, and I was reading that. I got to that section in the Llanberis slate quarries in North Wales, and I was going through all these tunnels to get climbing in these slate quarries. So that, you know, had an effect. Yeah, you could imagine Shelob living in these slate quarries where you had to crouch down to walk through them. In Llanberis, bottom of Snowdon, in the slate quarries there. Then there's certain key people in my reading development, if you'd like. One, this is only an introduction video, remember. One was a teacher from Grimsby called Peter Pounds, and we used to meet up maybe once a month, something like that. He'd come climbing wherever we were, and we'd chat and climb, and he invariably got round to what you're reading. And I'd tell him, and he'd always leave me with a book. Go and buy this book. So I'd go and buy it, and I'd read it for next time I saw him, and we'd talk about it. You know, he probably don't remember that, but it was, you know, we're talking like 30 years ago now. So I'm coming up to me 58th birthday this month. So he had a massive impact on me. And then another chap called Martin Veal, Sheffield lad, incredible rock climber, really quiet, unassuming fella, and he still is, but absolutely hilarious and really knowledgeable. And he worked in a ski shop back then, and whenever I went, he'd always have a book in his hand and a cup of tea. Oh, you've got to read this, Nige. Nige, you've got to read this. And I'd clock on, you know. It's before phones and all this garbage we've got now. And I'd write the name down and go and buy it. And that was another, there was never a shit book. There was never shit books by both of them, Pete Pounds or Martin Veal. Never give me a shit book. And then, but there was always like science fiction, fantasy, a little bit of fiction. You know, Pete used to tell me like, read so and so, read so and so. Used to get me out of that science fiction vend. Because he was a teacher, he knew you could get sucked down a rabbit hole. Yeah, look at this. We're heading up this path, round that little bend and up into a little valley on the right. I'm going to pitch my tent there. I'm reading a Canticle for Leibowitz at the moment, which is an enormous rucksack on back. But anyway, I do get distracted easily. Where was I? So, you will be getting monthly updates, if you like. I work full time now. I only read in the evenings. I'm not a fast, massive reader. I can read about 700, 800 pages in a month. No more than that. So if I pick up, and I have got some whoppers. So they'll take a month to read. I've got some whoppers on my TBR. You can ask me any questions you want, just put them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. I live in a bungalow. All my books are in polythene bags in the loft at each end at gable. Hence the reason I'm not sat by a wall of books. Because it's dark. And spiders. But you never know, I might do a book. You know how they do your library, if you like. So I went to America when I was young. Stopped there for a year climbing. I bought a Harley and I went travelling on this said Harley. Absolutely fucking brilliant. And I went by myself. Well, I didn't. To start off, I went with another lad, but he left. And I was by myself. And you have to talk to people when you're by yourself. So it forced me to be not as introvert as I felt myself becoming, with very few friends outside of what I did. Climbed, walked. And back then there was no book clubs. There was no YouTube. So if you was into your reading, you were a fucking shut-in, you know. It's a bit brackeny here. But yeah, so in America, I got enlightened to poetry and my favourite author, Edgar Rice Burroughs. I know he gets a lot of stick at them now. He's not politically correct. Yes, he is a racist in his writing, but planes are flying. But he's a bloke of his time. 30s, 40s, 50s America. But he did some absolutely brilliant adventure books, didn't he? And come on, let's be right about it. John Carter of Mars, Carson of Venus, the Moon Trilogy, Tarzan, you know, unbelievable. So I was a avid reader of Edgar when I was in America, and sadly I never kept those pulp paperbacks because I was in a foreign country and a limited budget, and now living in England they're like fucking dinosaur snot. You see them, a collection of, I don't know, John Carter of Mars, Black Spine, you all know the paperback ones I'm on about, pulp. They're going in England for over 100 quid on eBay, or some of the book sellers. You know, I've got a copy. The only ones that I'm missing in that pulp style are the first, I think, 4 John Carter ones. You can think of a number if you want the black spined Tarzan ones in England. You can think of a number and people will pay it, and I'm not kidding. So if you're in a book shop in America and you see them, buy them. Idiots will pay for them. But he is one of my favourite authors. We're up to 17 minutes here. But when I was in America, I was in Joshua Tree National Park, climbing obviously, and I met this, he was like a hobo guy. He was a real down and out. And I was stood hitching on the main road from that runs up to Palm Springs, from Joshua Tree Village, where you turn right up to the first loop trail, and now you go past the informational kiosk and all that, because I've been since, and stood on that corner with me, which is why I didn't get a ride for hours, was this hobo. And he says, we got chatting, and we got obviously talking about books, because you've got to find something you've got in common with everybody. Most people like books and reading. And he showed me this little green copy of his. It's a bit sweaty. Of Han Shan, Cold Mountain. It's got a little green cover, yellow writing. And he said, there's only like 125 poems from the Tang era, or whatever era it is, I forget now. Chinese poet Han Shan. And he'd give me this book. And the first one I read, I can remember the feeling now. Can't remember the poem. But I just thought, fuck, this is about me. This is about me, this. And it was one of them really moments that move you. And this poet, they're like 600 whatever BC, CD, what A, B, C, D, E. It got everything. It was an English translation. I was transfixed by this. And this hobo geezer, he was just stood there, smiling. And this car pulls up, and I says, fuck, I've got to write his name down. I've got to get this book. And I handed it back to him while this ride was waiting for me. And he wouldn't take it. He wouldn't take this book. And I never got the bloke's name. But I got this book, Han Shan, Cold Mountain, green cover, yellow writing. And it's in my loft. And I got that when I was like 19 by some bloke, I don't know his name. He had no reason to give me it. He didn't want any money for it. Amazing. And that one meeting set me then on reading the poets of China, mountain poetry of China. The monks, Wang Wei, Han Shan, Li Bao, all of them. And of course they lead you on to other books, don't they, you know. So my poetry collections are on the other end of the loft. What are we at now? 23 minutes, wow. Me rabbiting on an introduction to me. Excellent books. I hope you will follow my channel. I'm looking at these little blueberries that I'm going to eat. Oh, they're so sweet. I do hope you like my up and coming videos. There's a whole hillside, the little blueberry bushes, look. You can see them here. There's another one, look. There's a vine, straight in pile. You wouldn't get that if I was in front of my books. So once again, I do hope that you like my videos on excellent books and subscribe to the channel, because I will bring them from different locations around England, wherever I'm travelling, It'll mainly be the Peak District that I'm going to frog about. So, until the end of July, thank you for watching this long, and I will see you in the next one.